into the Monica Brant Show, and I'm super excited with my guest today here at the Arnold Sports Festival 2022. And I'm having the pleasure and the privilege and honor to speak to Chef Rush. And I'm just really excited because you're someone I actually was really interested in meeting, and I had no idea how I was going to get to meet you. And here you are at the Arnold Education, and I'm here, and it's just been an answer to my prayer to get to talk to you. So
2 prayers at once. So,
two prayers
to be here.
It's
a pleasure to meet you.
So cool. Thank you. Thank you. Is this your first Arnold, or have you been here before?
No, I've been here before. I've been kind of under the radar, over the radar. So I do a lot of media, kissing a lot of babies, you know.
Not shaking babies and kissing.
Exactly.
It's shaking hands and kissing babies.
Okay, that's what it is. Shaking hands and kissing. I was shaking the babies and kissing. No, I've been here before. Done a lot of media and back with Arnold, of course, and just big supports, especially with the after-school all-star kids. And I just love it. Love the energy, love fitness, love health, putting food and nutrition together with it. It's just one happy big family. And there's no place like this in the world in this industry. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand it unless you actually come into this industry organically and really, you know that.
I do. I know. This is my 21st year here.
Wow.
And I competed in 9 of them, got invited, between fitness and figure.
Oh, awesome.
So it's been fun. I haven't been here for a few years, but I'm back, and I'm really excited to be here with the Arnold Education piece and listening to all of their awesome speakers. And you're the first one here, and you have a book. Is that correct?
I do.
Tell us about your book.
My book is Call Me Chef Damn It. It's called Call Me Chef Damn It. From the rural South to the White House. It's just a book about, it was from HarperCollins, which they put a lot of faith and credit in me. And it's a book about my life, and from the White House to growing up in Mississippi to the Pentagon, 9/11 that I got blown up in, to military, just talks about everything that's happened to me. Mm-hmm. So it's a very real raw book.
Real and raw.
And then it actually leads into my cookbook, which is coming out end of this year as well.
So people get to know who you are and then what you're about, and then they get to see what you like to cook. Exactly.
So it leads up to why I do what I do with my advocacy with suicide awareness, 2,222 push-ups a day, for the 22 vets that commit suicide a day, which is mental health, mental wellness, kids, anti-bullying, cyberbullying, all those different things that we all should be able to cue up all the time.
Call me chef, damn it. From the rural South to the White House.
It sounds like you have a huge heart for a lot of different areas and people. Can we go back a little bit? Because I got to step in here. I was interviewing a competitor out here, and I walked in, and you were halfway through your talk already. But I did get to hear some things that were really intriguing and interesting. And so first of all, I want you to share a little bit, if you're okay with sharing, about your secret path into cooking, because that was really unique. And I'm like, everyone likes to know a secret, and you were having to be secretive. So can you share about that? Because,
So cooking was actually a hobby of mine. I'm from the South in Mississippi. My dad believed the boys go to work, the girls go to school, and no boys cooked at all. Mm-hmm. So when I was a kid, I used to sneak and cook with my mom. Right? She never told my dad. And I caveat, years later, because my dad just found out before he passed away that I was a chef. And all of a sudden, he wasn't on social media, did all those things. So all of a sudden, he finds out and he sees these hundreds of videos and pictures of me. And, he's crying as what I did. And he was like, why didn't I tell him? Mm-hmm. And I just felt the way where I thought, boys go to work, girls go to school. And, I'm doing all these things, but I'm doing them because that's what you and my mom taught me, be the hardest worker in the room. Was what my dad taught me. And my mom taught me to love unconditionally, So even with me being a chef and doing the things I do, I had to figure out how to put these things together to make it have some worth and merit to it, and some wealth to it, because anybody can be a chef, anybody can be a fitness person, anybody can do this and that, but what are they doing with it to make it profile to get out to everybody else? And how are they doing that?
Right.
And so that was part of my little secret.
Your little secret turned into this big platform that you're able to bless a lot of people through all that you do and all that you've been through.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Right. Do you remember the first thing that your mom secretly was teaching you how to do in the kitchen? Because that seems like that might be a memory that you're like, It's like, I'm not supposed to be in here, but mom's bringing me in.
I do. We had our own garden, which I love my own gardens, all that freshness. But it was greens, picking collard greens. I had the pleasure of, when my dad used to take me to the field and we used to go and pick our own peas and this. I mean, not only for ourselves, but for the neighbors as well.
Oh,
I'm
talking
about
to feed everybody.
Yeah.
So you learned about feeding multiple people and taking care of people at a young age. So your dad taught you that. And I bet you at some point were able to share that. Dad, you taught me about this.
Exactly.
And then your mom was teaching. Yep. Okay, so go ahead. Yep. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was like, that's a cool point.
No,
that your dad
true.
taught you
it's
how
true.
to take care of a lot of people. And I heard about the other 1,500 people. So I'm like, my brain's like, all these things I want to ask you about. But okay, so go back. You're enjoying picking the greens and your dad's teaching you how to pick those things and to share them.
No, and it's true. And one of the things was greens, which it was just a simple thing, but how she made it, what the love she put inside of it, right? So like we have Mississippi is a southern food place. It's a hospitality state. So even with those, when I opened my first restaurant, one of my first restaurants was a soul food place. I learned how to use healthy ingredients and soul food ingredients and make it healthy instead of just making it the way people would think it do. But it still kept the flavor profile and all those things go along with it, and to carry out for my lifestyle and my life and what I'm doing.
Wow, that's awesome. So mom was teaching you how to get in there and make the greens, and your dad's teaching you how to pick them. So, man, they both were showing you some really important things. I don't remember growing up, we never had a garden. We lived in the country. We learned how to work out in the, horses and all that, but I didn't really want to learn about cooking. And I wish now that I did, but I don't remember learning about greens so much. I think that's a really interesting thing that you brought up greens first, not something else. Like that was important. And it's so important now to have the greens.
Yeah, well, it was that because it was a chopping skills that go along with it. It was how you pull it off and how you do those. So she's done so many things, from the chickens to beef to proteins, this. I remember the greens because I didn't know any knife skills. So now, I'm having my own company, developing knives and what I would like and how important it is, Okay. The greens were those ones where you can tear them up, but of course, it's so many different ways you can do different things. And I try to teach people how to implement it in the best way and the easiest way for them.
Wow. Okay. I need a new set of knives. So when they're ready, or are they ready now?
They'll be ready by November.
So we'll be able to find them on website or Instagram or something. I do follow you on Instagram. So very cool. Cool. I do need it. I have my set of knives I've had since 1994. Oh, wow. Like it's time for a new set of knives.
So these are
obviously I don't use them as much as you do.
One of the best things chefs always have is their knives. They're very sensitive about their knives. And I've had so many different knives. And one of the things is that I want knives that are sharp, reliable, versatile, and I'm putting a lifetime sharpening commitment on them, and going over to France and going to have them from this little place where they've made knives for decades to actually do and produce all those knives.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to that. I'm going to have to get some of those when they're out. That's very cool. Okay, so learning about food, cooking, secretive to your dad. What did you do for work growing up? Was that work with the gardening and the fields?
That wasn't work.
Okay, that was just extra work.
That was just extra work.
Extra work.
I played sports. I was very.
Oh, you said track.
I played track. Football. I played football. I was an artist by trade also, I worked at little stores. Like I said, it was Mississippi. There didn't a lot of places to work at. The main thing was working with dad and going to school and making a little money on the side. But all the money I used to make, even if they didn't need it, I always gave back to my family.
Okay. That's awesome. Learn about sharing and not being greedy and not holding on.
Of course.
Kids haven't learned that really these days, have they?
It's a little different now.
It is, right? Okay, so then you joined the military, and I come from 3 generations of West Point grads and Army. And so tell me about that. I'm very much respect for military, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed what I got to hear in there. You're talking about your first day and showing up, and I can just picture, can you knock out everyone here? And you're like, yes, sir. Yeah. So maybe share that, if you don't mind sharing that story for my viewers, because I know not everyone got to hear it in there, just about that. And then I'd love to hear more about your military career and how that led to cooking.
Military, is is my foundation. It was part of who made me who I am, along my family, and how I still am going to this very day. And I never knew it would be that way. I was trying to get out of Mississippi. I had scholarships. I was scheduled for the Olympics for track and field.
What?
I had a football scholarship. I had a track scholarship. And I didn't know my family was meant for servitude. You know, my sister retired a colonel in the Air Force. My brother was a Navy officer. My other brother was a merchant marine. My sister helped, the blind, and the other sister was an educationer. And when I came into the military, what I did was I had to figure out my calling. And so right away, if you heard, I immediately got put in front and called out.
Right. He had you up there leading.
Yeah. He had
You're like, what am I doing?
I was a young guy. And mind you, I was in Mississippi, so I only knew black and white. This was the first time I had a rainbow of black, white, yellow, pink, purple, all different religions. And what I loved about it was, from Mississippi, I was black and white. Meaning there was no left or no right. It was just black and white. And I was able to relate to each and every person, no matter if they were from New York or LA or from the South or from the East or West Coast. It didn't matter. I related as a human, right? Which was one of the skill sets that I didn't know that was at the time. And then the next time it kept happening. And then I implemented all those leadership skills into what I'm doing actually to this day. And so I have to, it's all about energy, about giving energy. Like you have positive energy. We have positive energy. And the distribution of energy can make more positive energy going around. And so energy, the military was that foundation for me to do all those different things. And it's just been wonderful. And I remember that. And it's that old saying where don't forget where you came from, right? Always remember where you came from and always be able to give back to that situation, that organization, those person or people, and so forth.
That's awesome. So how many years in the military?
Over 20.
Over 20. And you had or have PTSD from?
I have. You never had.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
No.
I haven't really used the terminology. As far as, I understand that.
And the terminology has changed, or people have tried to compress a little bit from, PTSD to PTS. And I say have because nothing ever goes away. It's like those traumas and those coping tools and those triggers. I was an inpatient for 6 months and another inpatient. I was an outpatient for a year. And still, I was on top of my game. I worked for the most powerful people in the world. I was doing the most incredible things in the world. But internally, it was a different story.
It was a struggle.
It was a struggle. It's part of life. It's kind of like you can look your best shape, but if you have a heart attack, internally it's like, oh my God, you look so great. Inside, it may be something that's not working right. Something's not clicking the way it should be clicking.
Well, in the military wants you to have this hard exterior shell, right? And to be able to take on everything, because especially if you're in a leadership position, you have to be able to show the people that are following you that you've got it all together, that you're there to support them and lead them, right? And you're trained to do that, right?
And one of the things I did was when I came out was saying, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay not to say or not to get support and not being okay. I'm a big guy, and and then you look at people and you think like, oh my God, she has it together, he has it together. Look, but inside is like, what's going on? I tell people all the time, complacency and contentment is something that we should never have. People become complacent with a lot of different things and saying, oh, you got this, don't worry about it, it'll go away. Nothing goes away. It's just the way people process things internally. And so you have to remember that and be aware of it. And I say that because, one of my platforms is kids, and kids with the social bullying, anti-bullying, all those different things are so relevant right now. Since the pandemic and people just attacking people, and mental health and wellness is still very acute. People are still not holding it together. Young people.
Especially now with what's going on in the world and all the information and what's real, what's not real. What's blue, what's red, what's left and right, and all of the things are like, oh my gosh.
Me crazy.
We just stay here, take care of each other. and use the talents God's given us to bless other people.
That's true.
So one of the things you said that it just never goes away, right? It's there, but you learn how to manage it and work through it and to control what you need to control and allow what to be released can be released. And, it just reminds me, my dad told me years ago, I said something about someone being an ex-army or whatever. And he's like, oh no, there's never an ex. They are always that. I was like, okay, yes, sir. Like, you learn those things. And if you're not taught that, then, and I've heard people use that word nowadays, and I'm like, it's not X. My dad told me.
No,
so,
never X.
It's
It's like once Marine, always Marine. It's never, it's always the same.
Mm-hmm.
You're always doing. I do more now out of the military when I was in.
Mm-hmm.
It's because my platform is so much bigger and so much diverse, and I'm privileged and honored and humbled to be able to do the things I'm doing, to reach the people I'm reaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to do it because I answer all of my DMs. I answer all the things. So I do all my
Cool.
social
If I send you a DM, you'll say hi.
Of course. I'm going to follow you. So, it's just a whole different world. And it's just, like you have a certain amount of power. It's like, what are you going to do with that power? It's kind of like one of those old cliches of like, you have the power now, so what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it for yourself? You're going to use it for evil? Or are you going to distribute it out and make other people have positive or send a message? So it is what it is on people. I can't fault anybody for doing what they're doing. I just know I'm responsible for myself.
Right. We're all responsible for what we have. God's going to someday go, okay, what'd you do with the talents I gave you and the opportunities I gave you? Yeah. Very cool. So, okay. So the military is why the push-up started. Is this correct? Technically?
Technically. I mean, I did a lot of push-ups in the military.
I'm not going to ask you to jump on the table and show your push-ups.
I thought we was going to do them together. So.
Oh, we'll do a few. I won't do 2,000 push-ups. Oh my gosh. I can do 10.
So there you go. I'll take 10. That's
okay, maybe we'll do 10 at the end. You'll be like,
but I do a lot of push-ups. I actually I do one push-up that a lot of people just go crazy about. But I started push-ups even when I was in the mental health, when I was doing I was in an inpatient facility. We used to have 15 minutes of break, and I used to have the guys come out, and I'll say we're doing 500 push-ups in 15 minutes, which is a long time.
Yeah.
And
people are like, sure, I can do that. They think
they think
it.
can.
They think
until
it, but until you got to the 200 push-up, you're like,
it doesn't happen, So if they did 10 minutes and they did 500, then they have 5-minute breaks. And truth of the matter, none of them did those 500, in that time besides myself. But it was just the thought of just being there, pushing and understanding. And also it was a thing about it called a struggle, right? If you're struggling to do something internally and for real, and I think it's a competition, but I put in a relation where somebody's struggling, and that's you struggling now. Somebody's doing it 1,000 times worse than you.
Hey, you might just choke me up a little bit about that. It's like that teamwork.
It is. It's all about that.
And supporting one another.
I
have leaky eyes. I get leaky eye syndrome a lot from just when things touch my heart and you think about people supporting one another. Yeah. It's important.
And it's so important this day and age because everything can be twisted so easily. Everything turns to toxicity, and everybody tries to jump in on a bandwagon and bully everyone and do things, but they don't understand they're destroying someone, someone's family, a person or persons, and it's hard. And I'll be very honest with you. I'll take those blows. I'm big enough for it. I've taken 1,000 times.
Big shoulders carry a lot.
Yeah, of course. And people, and I understand that even me would need support and need help, but at the same time, I'm going to take that bullet for you because I know it's going to hurt me 1,000 times less than it'll hurt you for it, because I can process and internalize a lot differently than you can turn it. And that's what people have to understand sometimes. It's not about me being big. It's about my mindset. Right. It's about what I've been through and what I'm going through and what I'm meant to be doing.
Right. And how you care about others.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Okay. So 2,000 push-ups a day or is more?
2,222.
2,222 to match the year?
No.
I'm like, 2022.
So it's actually...
I got that right? 2,222.
So 2,222.
I'm like, is that because of the year? And then, okay, go ahead.
It's funny because the year is 2022.
That's why I'm saying that. I'm like, I got that.
But it's actually for the 22 vets commit suicide a day.
Okay.
So 22 vets commit suicide a day. And we were doing 22 push-ups a day for vets. And so I came up and said, that's not enough. I understand. I'm a big guy. I'm doing 22 and get up. And they were like, I did 22. So I needed something to get more attention, more awareness. And I need you to know that you're going to say two things, oh my gosh, a lot of push-ups. The first thing people want to say is, why 2? What's the 2s for? What's the 2s for? And you tell them like, oh, I didn't know that, you know? And that's my part of saying, okay, I'm big enough, I'm strong enough, I can do it. I'm also an endurance trainer. You know, when I tell people, they're like, oh, shit, I'm doing it. I'm like, no, don't do it because you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, you can build up to that.
You got to build up. I mean, I've been doing this a very long time.
How many years?
A long time. So I've done...
I mean, are we talking more than a decade, like 2 decades or more?
I've been doing a lot of push-ups for long, but not the 2,222. I've done over 1 million push-ups easily. And more than 2 million push-ups, actually.
Wow.
But in the last few years, but I just always had that build-up. Being an endurance trainer, I have to think and put my body and do my body. You got to push a little bit more to the limit. So mine is all about muscle memory, striation, endurance, longevity. You know, at the same time, being extremely careful and being very knowledgeable of your body and about injuries.
Right. That's amazing. I had a stint of push-ups. One of the Jantana Classic I won in 95, and one of the rounds was push-ups for a minute, sit-ups for a minute, and the Versa Climber for a minute. Oh, wow. And I won that round, but it was all 3 and they were like back to back. So I was training push-ups every day. Like I did 62 in a minute. Oh, wow. And you had to go down and all the way up. Not bad, right? No, that's a few years ago. Anyway, it was cool. So it was fun. Okay, so then you have so many pieces to your who you are. It's so cool. So okay, so push-ups and White House. You've been in the White House cooking for the presidents. How many years?
A long time.
Was it 4 presidents? Yeah, well, okay, so it wasn't like it was 4 presidencies. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. Was there one that stood out more than the other as far as who you like to cook for?
It all depends, right?
Who ate the healthiest?
That depends also. I'll be honest with you. Obama's probably ate the healthiest just because they implemented the garden. She implemented the garden, which went into the food pyramid and also made it very acute for the movement, about eating healthy, being healthy. So everything from the garden had to be implemented to the actual meals. Okay. And with me, I'm a carnivore, but I love vegan and vegetarians. I can make them into a million different ways. You give me some fresh herbs and vegetables, and that's all I need, and I will blow your mind. I'm sure you would. Were you in with Trump when he was there? I was there. You were there cooking too, so wonderful. That must have been a cool experience. I got to visit the White House in 2001. I have a friend that's on the Harley Davidson. Yep. We're getting ready to do that again. So he brought me in 2001 with a group, my family, and we got to tour the White House. I think it was right at the end of Bill Clinton's time there, and I met the dog, the red Labrador he had. Yep. I think it was like a Betty or something. Betty. I got some memory going on. But that was a really wonderful experience, and getting to take my family in there on a private tour. It was just wonderful. I'm still friends with him too, and keep him in my prayers because I know it's a really dangerous job, and it's high level. So that's awesome. So are you thankful to have finished that part of your business and moving into another chapter? I'm thankful for every part, the good, the bad, the indifferent. I mean, I'm thankful, and it was a necessity. It was needed. I needed those failures. And when I say failures, that was a failure, but when you say thankful, I mean, I learned a lot. I've been through a lot, and I use everything, like I said, good or bad, to turn it into something to push back out in a positive way. The next way. Yeah. That's great. So you have a book coming out, and now you're on the Monica Brant Show, so you're going to be famous. I'm just kidding. At that. No, it's true. You're so famous now. Do you have any other projects that you're working on? Actually, I have a lot of projects. You have a lot. You've got 2,000 projects, I'm sure. So we probably need like 2 more days to keep talking. But no, I have anything else you want to share right now? Well, I have a food line coming out on the 28th, so that's going to be called Chow Meals. That's going to be really big, and that was me. Of a lifestyle. I actually did all of the meals and went and did them to, when I say macros, but to support anybody of any lifestyle and demographics, whether you're big or small, work habits, this, yada, yada, yada. I'm starting my company with the knives, so I'm doing the knives. I'll have that developed by February, and I have about 5 TV shows getting ready to come out this year. That's awesome. I just finished up one, which I'm blessed about. So it's just about having different audiences. One I'm really excited about is with Gordon Ramsay. So, wow. There'll be some chef to chef. Well, it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a lot more exciting than that. So I'm sure. Well, with him and you, how can it not be exciting? It'll be fun. I love it. And impactful. Extremely packed.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. What's your favorite country to be in?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
I got a hard question.
That is a hard question. I mean, because I'm a food guy,
Yeah.
and I would actually visit other countries just to eat the food.
Okay.
But not to eat the food, but also to experience the food.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, from Argentina to Brazil to France to Italy to Budapest.
Okay, you've got
Prague.
too many favorites.
Oh my God.
I should have said, what are your
just-
top 10 favorites?
Okay. I don't know, because they all bring something different. And I love that. And I love countries and places where it's not so much westernized. I want a different experience. I want to experience the originality of that actual entity that I was at.
Okay. Good answer. Probably my last question, because I know you probably have a lot of other people that are waiting for you and things you need to go do and might need to go eat. And we do have 10 push-ups to do.
Yeah, we do have 10 push-ups.
Now I have a question. What would you tell someone that about longevity? Because I know that word is important to you. So maybe if you were to explain that to someone that's in their 20s that hasn't lived as much, how would you explain what longevity or how important it is?
So,
or what it means,
that's a great question, because a lot of people don't even know what endurance training is. They have a different mindset or perspective of it. But in longevity it's a word that should be simple and kind of understood. When you say what's longevity? It's like your everything that you do in your lifestyle is for the long haul. To dumb it down and say like having a bank account or financial security. It's like, if you save $10 a day and blase, or if you're spending all your money at one time, what are you going to have at the end part? I tell all the guys like you've been doing this long. This is 21st time here, and you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're in shape, all those different things. No, but people don't get that, and they look and they're like, how, why, why can I be there? I used to do this. And you don't have to used to anything. Yeah. You still can be. Right. Even it's never too late. People say to me all the time, I used to be in shape like you. I used to look like you. I'm like, what happened? Right. Longevity is still going, never giving up. Just keep going. It's a lifestyle. You don't go into the gym every 6 months and say, I used to work out, whatever. Did you stop eating? Did you stop breathing? Did you stop drinking water? Did you stop living? Right. You do it for the long haul.
I'm sorry, you just used the word lifestyle, and I've used that word a lot too. And I think what is, and maybe you would agree or disagree, I don't know, but I think that word has gotten lost now because people are so random nowadays. Yes. They don't hold on to a job. They don't hold on to a career. They don't even know what they're doing. And they're so random and so distracted that there's not a real lifestyle except being random.
It's true.
Right?
It's
so
true.
You can't have longevity if you don't have a lifestyle that produces that and that has some consistency.
I think people think now that there's an easy way to do everything.
Yeah, they want that because it's the phone. It's easy.
It is. They want to look and they want to Google up something. They want to see. If you heard me say earlier, when I started saying about my work habits and my workout habits and the things I was doing, and people were like, "Oh, you can't do that. You don't do that. How can you do that?" I'm like, are they joking with me or? Has the work ethics just gone down that much? Right? Or people just saying, I can't. Instead of saying you can't, people should kind of reflect on themselves and just say, I can, or let me try.
Yeah, right. Let's try.
And that's part of that lifestyle, but we have to kind of implement those people back into that, like you doing this. That's going to give them like, even when I did the speech, people were like, oh my God, that was so motivational. That was so different. That was so, you make me want to go work out again. You make me want to go eat right again. You make me want to do that. So that's igniting that fire, which that's why I love doing this.
Yeah, thank you. It's this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed getting to talk to you, and I probably could sit here and I'm a talker, so I could sit here and probably ask you a lot more questions and brainstorm with you, but I know you probably need to go. So I really want to thank you so much. And I have a 𝗬𝗚xe t-shirt. Would that be fitting for you, or can I order you one that fits you correctly? What size t-shirt?
I can do a 𝗬𝗚xe. It'll make me look nice and plump.
It's going to pop.
That's what they say, when you want to look a bit bigger, put on a smaller shirt.
Okay. Dawn, do you mind grabbing one of these 𝗬𝗚xes we can give him? I think it's just on the bottom there, yeah. I would love it. It'd be honored for you to maybe wear it one day.
Of course. I'll tag you on it.
Yeah, that would be great. And on the back, it's got the QR code.
Oh, awesome.
There it is.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
22 vets commit suicide a day. So now I do 2,202 push-ups a day. It's a full and total body workout. And you can always do it right then and there. I am White House Chef Andre Rush. I'm from Columbus, Mississippi, and I do push-ups for suicide awareness. I served the military over 20 years, and one of my soldiers actually committed suicide the day he called me. Since then, I've taken on a battle. I have PTSD, but fitness has played a role in my mental health in the same way as cooking. It's a release for me. Is there a stigma in mental health in the military? Absolutely. We're always thinking someone is going to think down on us, but there's so much we can learn from each other. Everyone that says, thank you, chef, and I say thank you back, they help me more than I help them. Energy spreads energy.
Hey, Monica here. In order to get more videos like the one you just enjoyed, be sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification, and please feel free to share and like the videos so that more people can enjoy them too. So as always, stay fit, love life, and looking forward to tuning in to the next episode of The Monica Brant Show.